Mark, we saw quite a bit of grit out of Caitlin, Casey, and McKenna, especially on that early goal and the work that they did on the other two goals. Was that more than you've seen out of them, especially in that regard before, or is that just kind of what you come to expect out of those players?
I think the big thing about them, you look at our last probably 6 or 8 games, they've started to play really well. They may not have, joined everybody else who's been on the score sheet from his goal and assist standpoint. But, go back to our game against Minnesota in the playoffs, Max scored a couple nice goals to help us win that game. I think Casey's game is really starting to come into shape. And, if you take our first game of the year when we played Ohio State down there, and watch Casey and that group of players, Mac and Schneider. And now you look at, game 20 for us against Ohio State again. I mean, they've made a big jump. They've improved. They've gotten better. And the nice thing about them getting on the score sheet tonight, it's got to help with their confidence, just the excitement. And as I told the team after the game, different people are stepping up in all our different games here. And that's the nice thing that I'm seeing, that, you don't have to rely on Shirley or Watts or somebody else. I mean, somebody's stepping up and making a contribution. Wheeler did a nice job on faceoffs tonight, especially the second half of the game, especially in our defensive zone. So they're getting rewarded, and now you got an opportunity to play for the national championship.
Nicole, your question?
Mark, I think I might have asked this exact same question 2 years ago, but Caitlin really seems to have a knack for stepping up in the postseason. She's in the WCHAs, but also in both quarterfinals and in the Frozen Four. She just seems to be that kind of player that steps up to the situation and finds that new level.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch her play, and if you've seen her play, I mean, she's a wonderful skater, and so she can get on the forecheck, she can create havoc for the team in our offensive zone, and then get pucks to the net. She played really well tonight again, and that group, like I mentioned to Todd, last 6 or 7 games they've really stepped up. They've matured, and they've become really good 200-foot players. So it's exciting to watch, and like I mentioned, it's exciting to see them get on the score sheet and help us win a game.
Carly, your question?
Hey, Coach, congratulations. Obviously, Daryl Watts was named a finalist for the Patty Kazmaier Award. So I'm just wondering what kind of an honor that is and what she's done this season to earn that.
I mean, if you look at our schedule, it was quite demanding. I mean, we only had 6 home games. We played Ohio State 6 times. We played Minnesota 5 times. It was a very demanding schedule, and we were able to get through that. And Daryl was a big part of it. I mean, she put up numbers against quality opponents and was consistent throughout our regular season, and certainly is worthy of being in the top 3.
Todd, your question?
Sorry, I had trouble with the mute button there. Kennedy had to be big for you in the third period, especially, and also in the second period when it seemed like the game tilted a little bit. What were the factors there that happened to have Ohio State get that much pressure on you guys? And what did you see from Kennedy to backstop you?
Well, I mean, it's just, everybody's playing for their lives right now. You're playing for another day and another game. And, Ohio State played very aggressive, especially in the second period and parts of the third period. And, we were bending at times. And certainly when we were bending, you want your goaltender to come up with some saves. And she was able to do that. And at 3-0, no one's really comfortable. And, we have a miscue on a face-off on a 4-on-4 situation, and our defenseman forgets to pick up their center, and she's all in front of the net. So Kennedy makes the first save, and you can't falter for the second one. And I think the second goal goes off one of our defensemen. So, the game is going to have momentum shifts, and how you adjust to it and how you handle it, is going to give you an opportunity to either win or lose a hockey game. And, I've talked now for probably a month about being comfortable playing with 1-goal leads because, the opponents we played this year, we were in a lot of those 1-goal games. And, if there's 6-7 minutes to go and you're up a goal, you got to be comfortable with it. You got to be composed, and you got to have some composure in situations. You got to win faceoffs. You got to block shots. And if you're willing to do that, you can get to the finish line. And we were able to do that tonight against a very strong Ohio State team.
Nicole, your question.
Mark, I just wanted to ask about Kennedy's growth this year. If you think about how she played in that first series versus Ohio State versus this one, just in terms of being able to stop pucks dead or deflect them differently, not give up rebounds. It seems like she's grown a tremendous amount based on just the level of play she's had to have this year against those opponents.
Yeah, she's been challenged in some really tough games, and every time she's been challenged, she seems to do really well. And we've been in some games that have some serious meaning. Last time we played Ohio State for our championship in our playoffs, our last game of our regular season was an opportunity to win our league championship, and so we fell behind in that game, but we were persevered and we got to the finish line and ended up winning it. And so we've been tested, we've been challenged, and I knew we were going to be challenged in tonight's game, knowing what was at stake and how good Ohio State is, and the familiarity of us beating them in our playoff championship. So they're going to play with a little bit of an edge, and how are we going to respond? How are we going to meet the challenge? And we were able to come out and establish some things and score a couple goals, which helps you. And then, when we were bending and blocking, doing things, that you want to stay away from, we didn't break. And so I think everybody's excited. We get an opportunity to take a day off tomorrow and then get ready for Saturday's national championship game against a real good Northeastern team.
Gabriella, your question.
Hey, Coach. I know you mentioned being pretty familiar with Ohio State coming into this one, this being the sixth time you've played. And some of the more recent scores were a little bit closer throughout the game. I'm just curious if there was anything that your team tried to do a little bit differently that helped you have so much success to kind of build up a bigger lead in this one.
No, I mean, the games we've played against them, when we're playing well, we're taking care of the puck, we're managing it, we're winning faceoffs. We're doing all the little detail parts of the game that, help you get to the offensive end. And, if we're going to have success tonight, we needed to do that. And at times we did a pretty good job. And other times, Ohio State was doing a good job. They're a very pressure oriented group. They want to get the puck in the offensive zone. They come with 5 players hard. And so you have to have some composure. You can't panic with a puck. And, there's going to be scrums or 50-50 battles along the wall. And are you willing to win those or win the majority of them? And if you, are committed to that and you meet the challenge, then you have an opportunity to have success against them. But, in these tournament games, momentum can switch at any time. And, you have to make sure your composure is good and you're really ready for the next shift, relevant if you scored or they scored or what the situation is.